When we think about behavioral change, the standard approach is just to tell people what's the right thing to do. Right? You say, here are the way people behave. Why aren't they behaving the right way? They probably just don't know. So let's just give them the information, and once we give them the information, that would work out. But if you look at the history of behavioral change, and you ask yourself, what are the cases in which we had success in behavioral change, and how much of the success was given to information, you would realize that information is rarely the key to any behavioral change. So let's think about the Western world, and let's think about what are the things that we're proud of as humanity that we have done. So it's not that much, right? So we've reduced smoking in the US from 40% to 20%, right? Not all the way there, but it's substantial. What brought that about? Was it about the Surgeon General recommendation of saying no, that smoking is bad for your health? No, that did nothing. In fact, when you look at teenagers, when you show teenagers the ads for smoking plus the warning, they were more likely to smoke rather than less likely, because it basically made them rebel. Smoking was driven down by our ideology around secondhand smoke. We basically made up a term called secondhand smoke. We exaggerated, we have to admit, we exaggerated the harm of secondhand smoke. That allowed us to villainize secondhand smokers. It allowed us to tax cigarettes at a very high level and to basically ban it from many places. So it was villainizing, taxes, and making it hard to access that had a behavioral change, nothing about information. Seatbelts. Again, we got lots of people to wear seatbelts, generally good. How much of it was about information? Not that much. It was about the seatbelts moving, the car buzzing, kids in the back of the seat saying, why aren't you putting your seatbelts on? And of course, fines. But again, not information per se. You're looking at texting and driving. Terrible activity, lots of people do it. Lots of people do it way too much, kill themselves, kill other people. Don't people know? Yes, people know. And you can look at all kinds of other cases. Maybe the most direct case that we know is the case of financial literacy. There was a recent meta-analysis that said, look, we're spending hundreds of millions of dollars educating people about money, telling them how to budget and save and have emergency saving and all kinds of other things. How effective are those educational paths? And in this meta-analysis, they took all the research ever to be done on financial improvement, and they concluded that when you teach people something, they remember, but do they execute? Rarely. In fact, the improvements around saving and budgeting and so on are around 4% improvement, which is not that much. But that improvement is lower for people from lower social economic status, and it goes down over time. And in total, they estimated that the total improvement of all the programs around financial literacy improved financial outcome by 0.1%. Not zero, but really, really close. And that's what happens with information. You know, and we are kind of naturally inclined to think that as long as we just give people information, they will do the right thing. Another example is calorie counts. We actually did this experiment in which we posted calorie information on every item in the fast food chain and showed zero improvement. New York City replicated this experiment. They basically asked every fast food place, actually not asked, they demanded that every fast food place in New York City post calorie information, and basically nothing happened. But this tendency to think that information is so strong is so prevalent that the US government recently regulated that every restaurant in the US that has more than 20 branches should start posting calorie information. Now, that's one of the problems, is that we think that the main barrier for good behavior is knowledge. That's kind of part of the rational approach. You say, people are always behaving rationally. People are always making the right choice. If they're not, it must mean that they just don't know. And if we only told them, everything would be fine. I think that the first step is to admit that this would have been a very nice world if that was the case. I wish it was the case. Frankly, how interesting life would have been, how easy it would have been if you only told people, hey, did you know texting and driving is dangerous? And people say, oh, thank you for letting me know. I'll stop immediately. The reality is that we need to figure out very, very different ways. And there's a couple of complexity to these thoughts. One is that the direct path between why people behave badly and just telling them that the consequences will stop immediately doesn't work, which means we need to take lots of sideways. We need to take lots of bypasses, kind of getting people to do the right thing for the wrong reason, right? Yes, brushing our teeth, or yes, wearing seatbelt is good, but the actual threat from the car is not that good. Let's do taxes. Let's do fines. Let's do beeping noises in the car. Let's get the seatbelt that moves itself. Let's do all kinds of things that are not a direct path to overcoming it. And the interesting thing is that there's lots of indirect paths we could take, and that's where the creativity comes in. So you say, here is somebody who's not saving. Here is somebody who's not behaving in their long-term health, the consequence of their long-term well-being in health. Here's somebody who's not taking care of their family, whatever it is, and you say the information itself is unlikely to be the right path. Let's provide for them all kinds of alternative motivations that would get people to behave as if they care. And that's the beauty of thinking about social science. It's saying, let's take all of our toolkit, all the ways in which we know how to influence people, and let's see which one of those we can add, like spices, to the mixture of incentives to get people to behave in a particular way, or to get them to be more likely to behave in that particular way.